How you doing?
I'm doing great. Like I said, I feel like this is the part of SNL, like the back 15 minutes where they're putting some of the crazier sketches. That's where I get that SNL like fun time.
Awesome. It's been oh my gosh, yeah. It's been a long day. I think this is my sixth or seventh cup of coffee. Throwing it
You're an
down.
Iron Man. I've been
Yeah,
popping in here and there just checking it out, and it's been so cool. It's got a great vibe.
yeah. It's been. I will want to do this. This is the longest I've ever streamed. I will want to do
Yeah.
this more. Maybe not 12 hours in a day more. Maybe do that maybe once a year. But it's been just from a 40,000 foot view to hear the different views, perspectives. Honestly, to get you and Tall Skinny Kiwi, honest to God, I would never put the two of you together and just start to even picture that together. It's beautiful. I meant to ask you. Oh, let me get his perspective.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about this? And I suck at life, but
No, you
man,
don't,
that
man.
was so good.
You've been live streaming for a long time, bro. Over 8 hours. So that's hard. Also, you might have been doing the basketball team because he's tall and I'm pretty tall too. So I think we really could have put something together there. Don't know if he's
Yeah,
good at basketball, but
I don't know either. And up front, I always and I've been on the record for this half a dozen times. I can never remember if you're Houston or San Antonio. I
yeah,
actually
dude.
confession hour. I don't actually know the difference between those two cities. Like it's been. I spent 9 years in Dallas, Fort Worth. I spent 5 years in Austin. All I know is Houston and San Antonio is south of all of those, south somewhere, and so it all kind of blends together into one into one massive state of Texas. So anyway,
I think
thanks
that's
for jumping on.
fair. I think that's fair. Houston and San Antonio are a little bit different. With San Antonio, it's remember the Alamo. That's just
Yeah,
how you remember San Antonio. We're the Alamo.
in Houston's traffic, that I know.
Traffic and delicious food. Although there's
Isn't that
delicious food in San
food?
Antonio. Houston has such a diverse population that it's
Okay.
like I think it has the most languages spoken in any city in the United States. Even more than New York, I think.
Hmm.
Um,
I
uh,
I'd throw
don't
Miami in
don't
that
quote
mix,
me
but
on
it's
that.
okay. We'll let you pretend.
Don't quote me on that.
I
Don't
won't.
quote me. But
I'm not. Hey, Whitebeard, fact check him. I have no idea if Whitebeard's watching, but if
yeah,
Whitebeard was, he would be fact checking that right now. Anyway, go ahead,
they
please.
have an insane amount of culture there. But San Antonio's great. It's Alamo. It's South Texas. It's beautiful. It's breakfast tacos.
Awesome. Let's. Oh, so this actually works out very well. My next guest actually texted me when a couple minutes ago that he wants to bump to 7 p.m. Eastern, and so I actually have some time to kill in a full slot. Are you good time wise? Can we talk for a while?
Yeah, I probably have like a few minutes and I can jump back on, or we can go virtual and I can jump on my phone. I just got to drop a kid off somewhere.
What do you got? You got 5 minutes. You got to go.
I give me 10. I can do
All
10.
right. All right, let's do 10. You're out the door in 10 minutes. It's digital. Like we got to live towards this. So you are you're pastoral care, and you're a former digital pastor. Like I
Yes.
know you and I've had this conversation different times, but your shtick, you do what's beyond? Oh my gosh, I just blanking. Better on the Inside podcast
Yeah. Yeah.
towards that. I started to say beyond behind the helmet, and I was like, that is not your podcast. That's a completely different thing.
That would be really
Um,
cool though.
it'd be nice if you had the funding of that, but no.
Yeah.
So better on the inside. You talk about pastoral care in a caring for the soul in a digital age. Man, I just would love some insight behind that. How are we? How can we be better on the inside in this age of digital pandemonium chaos? Like,
Mm.
is digital bad? Is it digital good? How are we feeling with all this?
Yeah. Nothing is inherently bad or inherently good, right? Digital is just a tool, and digital really, and you've talked about this before, El Jefe, is really an unfortunate name because it describes so many things. Like digital includes the text messages you get. It includes the, your security camera system and virtual reality and augmented reality. And there's so much under the banner of digital, but to me, it's just a tool. To me, digital is like the Roman road. It would be like arguing, are paved roads bad? Like if we were live streaming in the, 2,000 years ago, we'd be like, I don't know about these Roman roads, Jeff. They let in barbarians and all these other kinds of things, right? And so
Yeah.
to me, digital is just a technology piece that's all in how you wield it. And I think there's a way to wield digital that can be soul giving and soul affirming. And anybody on this stream has experienced it. If
Hmm.
you're tracking with the church digital, unless you have a whole audience of haters and hecklers, but if you're tracking with the church digital, you've probably had an experience online that has been profound and been incredible and has filled your heart in a way that you never could have before. Even as far as say, like with the Holy Spirit, right? You were talking before with people of like, isn't it better that Jesus said, isn't it? It's better that I go away, right?
Yeah.
Because that location kind of piece. And so I don't think digital is either bad or good. It's how we wield it, and how to wield it in a soul positive way is the question that I think is what I ask.
Wow. That's so good. It's funny. I'm feeling the vibe, the mode. I realized my iTunes stopped playing again for some reason. It gets it
Yeah.
should be repeating, but it's not. And it's like, man, I need to like relax. I need to bake in. Like you bring that out of me, And so,
Yeah.
just kind of setting the mode here with the music. But um, so my wife, I love my family. My wife just brought me Starbucks. So
Let's
God bless.
go.
Yeah, I'm on my seventh cup of this, and I just
Yeah.
got a venti iced coffee with sugar free vanilla, and my
Shout out to La
family is
Jefita. La
is
Jefita
is
is coming
office.
through.
Yeah, La Jafita. Oh my
If you're
gosh.
El Jefe, she's La Jefita.
So I don't know that I've told you this. My name is my name. I met my parents on earlier. They named me this, but so they named me Jeffrey Dale Reed. Jeffrey Dale Reed. And Jeffrey, growing up, Jeffrey Reed. What's your name? Jeff Reed. Jeffrey what? No, Jeff
Yeah.
Reed. And so like it's just very much kind of it flows together, right? And so Jeff Reed is my name, but Dale's my middle. And now Miami kind of grew from being much more Hispanic, let's just say it that way,
Yeah.
in recent years. And so a lot of my friends down here, it's common for me to be El Jefe. So you're joking, El Jefe. I between Miami and Texas,
Yeah.
I've lived my entire life in Hispanic cultures, and so El
That's right.
Jefe is that's fine. But when you add my middle name into that, the Spanish version, Dale, uh,
Dale, let's
yes,
go.
yeah, and basically the equivalent of that becomes El Jefe Dale, which is the equivalent of I'm the boss, do it and do it now, right?
Let's
And so like all of a
go.
sudden it's this domineering El Jefe Dale bossing you around, telling you what to
That's
do,
right.
and so confession hour, number two here on the stream, like that was my life for a good portion of that. I don't know that I was better on the inside. I did
Mm.
I did get my drive from my parents. We've talked about that online and offline, but there's it's a much more okay. Let's kind of work through this, trying to be a little healthier for me physically and also as a leader coming through that as a digital pastor, you've experienced like, okay, I'm building this, I'm all alone, organization doesn't understand, I am an island, I'm trying to make a difference, I'm changing culture, I have to do this, and it's just over freaking whelming on top of on top of on top of. How do we I don't know, lo-fi that? Should
Yeah.
we lo-fi that? Like how do we take that a step back? How do we handle that situation?
Yeah, it's so interesting because the digital pastor is probably the most connected and the most lonely kind of pastor that there is. And part of it is that you're connected to this large community that is the world, the globe, even the metaverse now, the virtual world. right? You're not just connected to people, you're connected to avatars and ideas of people and all that. And at the same time, in your organization, you're usually kind of put up in a room and left to just kind of figure stuff out, because unfortunately for a lot of church leadership teams, your job is to put the sermon online.
Mm-hmm.
Like like, is the sermon on YouTube? Okay, do we have cool sermon clips? Make me look like Stephen Furtick. Like, and you have a mission that is so much more than that. Every digital pastor that I've talked to that's worth their salt wasn't just there to put up stuff on YouTube. They were there to build a digital community because they saw the possibilities of what digital can do and how digital is real. This isn't like a fake reality somewhere. Like, lives truly can change in this space. And I'm sure I've heard people on this live stream tell the stories, on your podcast, everywhere else. Like, people have told the stories. Lives change through digital. And so you're a lonely person, and yet you're very connected. The digital pastor community is really cool because of stuff like the Church Digital. So there's a lot of people that but they're all somewhere else. They're all in another city. They're all in another across the globe of being like, man, if where pastors kind of used to kind of have the pastor's lunch once a month in town or whatever, where all the pastors in your city get together. And a lot of digital pastors have that practice. They're just getting together virtually, but it can be really lonely because you're out here trying to achieve a mission where maybe you're a little bit alone in the physical realm.
Yeah. I spent at least my church staff years, 15 years off and on. I spent my church staff years really feeling like no one ever understood me. It's funny. The day I stepped out, one of my last meetings was with the operations director of the church that I was at, and she says, "Jeff, I felt like you were," and we were just, it was an unhealthy relationship at the end, and she said, "Jeff, I honestly felt like you were fighting every day you worked at this church." And I looked at her and I was like, that's because I was fighting every day of this church. Like, there was no, I was countercultural almost from the day that I was hired. And it didn't work. And it was interesting. Like, for me, my support system, even within the church staff, it was the global missions pastor. And it was the discipleship guy, somebody who understood community and somebody who was used to supporting long distance. They saw value in what I was doing. And when I took the job as a digital pastor, I always thought, oh, the worship guy's going to love me, the executive pastor, all of these things, communications, like, it's going to be this great giant group hug and it's going to be great. But it really didn't work that way. Which really kind of changed my worldview, because I was recognizing, hey, the content level, make me look like Furtick, like, that's important at connecting, but that's hollow if we only stay at that connection level. And understanding, okay, that's the beginning of the conversation. There's community. If it's hybrid, I don't know if I've ever told you this stat. 91%, 2024 PushPay State of the Church Tech Report, 91% of churches consider their church hybrid. Did you know that? Have I ever told you that stat? Okay, look at his face right now. 91%, I'm not lying. 91% of churches in America consider their church hybrid. Here's the follow-up stat. 90% of churches that were interviewed are broadcasting their church services online. What does that tell you, my friend?
They think those two things are the same, and they could not be further from the truth. Because if you look, let's just keep it real right now. Everybody, like, listen in on this one. Keep it real. If your lead pastor had his way, every single person would be in the sanctuary and you would stop streaming live. Because to your point, Jeff, that Stephen Furtick clip stuff, oh, I want to be Mike Todd, oh, I want to be this, that. That is a really good way to build a castle, not a great way to build a kingdom. Or to build the kingdom. It's just not. And it's all these metrics that, and you want to get me preaching right now, all these metrics that are vanity metrics online does it on steroids. It does it in the most efficient and effective way. Well, instead of just having 125 people watch me, I could have 10,000 people watch me. and it's more budgets, right? The thing that,
Hmm.
oh, and we can have people give from everywhere. And their conception of what digital is the idea that 91% of churches report that they're hybrid is insane. That could not be further from the truth when most online experiences are crafted to drive people to the room,
Yeah.
to go, hey, guess what? You're missing out on something if you're not watching it in person, versus using and leveraging the tools that you can use digitally. I mean, it would be like, I don't know, if you were pick a dating app, if you were Hinge, or I forget, I don't know, I can't think of any of them right now off the top of
I'm
my
not
head.
up on my dating apps. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but keep going.
Tinder. There we go. Tinder.
Tinder.
If you were Tinder and you were like, hey, sign up for Tinder, but you only can come to New York City for the meetup at the restaurant. Like, if that was your way to get people to date, people would laugh you out of the building and nobody would fund
Yeah.
your thing. And yet churches are going, hey, we're doing a cool thing, but you don't get to see everything because Pastor Tony only has his, this message on whatever. Sorry to any Pastor Tonys out there. But it's an insane idea that they're hybrid when they're really just streaming, right? That's what the stat says.
Yeah. Beautiful.